It's often said that one of America's strengths is that we run 50 laboratories of democracy. And Donna, from right here in St. Albans, asked, what are some other economic policies you see in other states that should be applied, maybe here in Vermont? Or what are some mistakes that other states have made that we need to make sure that we ought to avoid? Senator Benning, we'll start with you.
Well, I would start by looking the 18 miles across the river from where I live to New Hampshire. The idea of getting rid of our sales tax would be an ideal way to compete with that neighbor on our border. I used to be able to say that if you traveled the length of Main Street in St. Johnsbury, you would find at least 13 empty storefronts. If you went to Littleton, New Hampshire, which is right across the river, you would not be finding any empty storefronts. So being able to compete with the neighbors right next door is very important, and it's something that we should be looking at. How did they get to where they are? Why are they where they are? And why are we where we are? Because we have a government that is so much overbloated in comparison that it makes sense to take a harder look at what we're doing to ourselves. The other part of that now is that we have spent a tremendous amount of government money, which is your tax dollars, quite frankly, in trying to fix these places. But we are investing millions and millions of dollars on housing in places that have storefronts below them. These are multi-story buildings. And the storefronts being brought in is great, but when you're only getting a few $100s a month for an apartment that you have just invested millions of dollars in refurbishing, that does not make any sense with our tax dollars, and I think we need to take a hard look at what we're doing to ourselves.
Good. Greg, same question. 50 laboratories of democracy, what are other states doing that we should be doing, or what are they doing that we should make sure we avoid?
First, I just want to mention that we are a constitutional republic, not a democracy. And that I think that's really important for people to understand. We need to follow states like Florida and New Hampshire, like Senator Benning just cited, South Carolina and Texas, and stop these regulations, stop handcuffing our people. And that's one of the biggest problems here in Vermont. We have too many regulations. And we need to open the floodgates to economic development. Stuff that I've worked on when I was in the city council in Rutland and other committees afterward. We need to learn, Paul, from our history. And we're not doing that from our past. And what economics show us, economic policy shows us, limited government strives for economic development when we adopt good, sound regulations. I'm not saying we need to do away with all regulations, because we do need to keep people safe. I get that. But it's overburdensome, and they're handcuffing us. And that's why we've got two beautiful states, and Vermont's more beautiful, but Vermont and New Hampshire, and geographically, and what they're doing there and what we're doing here. And they're prospering, thriving, and we're not.